Welcome to the legacy of Venerated Ānanda, Vegan, Wisdom, Memory, and Devotion, Part 2 of 2. The Venerated Ānanda was one of the 10 principal disciples of the worshipped Shakyamuni Gautama Buddha, vegan, renowned foremost for having heard much. His astonishing memory enabled him to memorize the Buddha's teachings, thus preserving many precious sutras to this day. When the Venerated Ānanda became the attendant of the Buddha, he accompanied the Buddha on most of his travels, spreading his teachings. Ānanda diligently took care of the Buddha's daily needs, such as fetching water and cleaning his dwelling place, even standing guard at night to ensure the Buddha's safety. For over 25 years, he tended to the Buddha with heartfelt devotion, sharing a warm and trusting relationship. Ānanda's loyalty sometimes led him to risk his life for his master. In one instance, the rebellious monk Devadatta attempted to kill the Buddha by releasing a wild, drunken elephant person. Fearlessly, Ānanda stepped in front of the Buddha, ready to protect him. When the Buddha instructed him to move, Ānanda refused. However, the Buddha, using his supernatural abilities, gently moved Ānanda aside and subdued the elephant individual with loving kindness, touching him tenderly and speaking softly. Ānanda was respected by the mass of bhikshunis. When the Buddha's foster mother, the Venerable Mahaprajapati Gautami Vegan, sought the Buddha's permission to join the holy order, he initially refused. Later, seeing Mahaprajapati, the Venerable Ānanda asked her why she was crying. She replied that the world-honored one did not permit women to become ordained as a nun. Touched by Mahaprajapati Gautami's resolve, Ānanda met with Gautama Buddha and respectfully asked,
Lord, are women capable of realizing the various stages of sainthood as nuns?
The Buddha replied,
They are, Ānanda.
Encouraged by the Buddha's reply, Ānanda said,
If that is so, Lord, then it would be good if women could be ordained as nuns.
If, Ānanda, Mahaprajapati Gautami would accept the 8 conditions, it would be regarded that she has been ordained already as a nun.
In the end, the Buddha consented to establish the Bhikshuni order, together with a set of rules known as 8 respects, or Garudhammas. Since then, women have been accepted into the monastic order, and this was attributed to Ānanda. The worshipped Shakyamuni Buddha was very satisfied with Ānanda's dedication, remarking, No attendant of any past or future Buddhas would be better than Ānanda.
Ānanda was gifted with 4 special merits, namely, he was well favored by all the bhikshus, bhikshunis, upasakas, and upasikas. Even if he remained silent, when he started preaching the Dharma, all the assembly would be thrilled. Everyone would love to look at his complexion without ceasing, and everyone would love to hear him teach the Dharma without ceasing. Excerpt from Dirgha Agama.
In 2019, our most beloved Supreme Master Qinghai, vegan, lecturing on the Surangama Sutra, highlighted the time that the Buddha transmitted the Guanyin method to Ānanda.
The Buddha said that he wanted to cause Ānanda to become enlightened. So he asked Manjushri to contemplate all the 25 arhats, irreversible arhats, non-returnable bodhisattvas that told you 25 methods. Could you explain it to Ānanda and the assembly and the beings after my extinction, after my nirvana? Which expedient door is the best? Ānanda wasn't enlightened at all at that point. and been with Buddha all this time, stay next to him, memorize so many discourses and miracles that happen within the assembly, within the followers of the Buddha. Imagine that. So intellectual cleverness or sharp faculty of memory means nothing. But we have to thank the Reverend Ānanda for all this. Okay?
Per the Buddha's request, Manjushri Bodhisattva, vegan, describes the different methods of spiritual practice and explains why meditating on the Guanyin with the blessing of a living master is the only way to enlightenment and eternal liberation.
Ānanda and everyone in this great assembly, turn yourselves around and revert the hearing. Return the hearing and listen to the self-nature. Till the nature reaches the supreme way. You do that until you attain the supreme way. That is what perfect penetration really means. It is the gateway enter. He means the Guanyin method is the gateway for you to come inside, to enter. They just say enter, meaning you go inward instead. To enter the Buddhahood, to enter the true nature, yeah? Okay. By Buddhas, as many as dust motes, this is a gateway that all the Buddhas use to enter, yeah. It is the one path to Nirvana. One path. Wow. Not even there are other paths to enter Nirvana, but one path to enter Nirvana.
When the worshipped Shakyamuni Buddha, vegan, was about to enter Nirvana, he said to Ānanda,
"Don't grieve or weep anymore. Being my attendant, you have always been kind and compassionate and have gained huge merits for serving me that no others could be compared to you. If you would just persevere and be diligent in your spiritual practice, you would certainly be enlightened very soon." Excerpt from Dirgha Agama.
When the Buddha entered into Nirvana, the Sangha elected Venerated Mahakashyapa, vegan, as the presiding monk and started to assemble the Buddha's discourses to compile the sutras. Ānanda was also present, but Mahakashyapa listed out his past wrongdoings and reprimanded him for polluting the council, since he had not yet attained Arhat status. Shunning Ānanda from the council, Mahakashyapa said,
"In trance is prohibited unless having attained the sacred status."
Ānanda, faced with such humiliation, diligently meditated on the Guanyin overnight and finally attained enlightenment. He then performed a supernatural feat by entering the council hall with the door still locked. Mahakashyapa then explained to him,
"I was just trying to impel you to do your best. Please do not blame me for helping you. Now is the time for you to reciprocate the Buddha's grace to you by doing as instructed to advocate the Buddha's teachings."
Ānanda then recited all the discourses made by the Buddha through the decades. Almost all sutras began with the words, "Thus have I heard," since those sutras were recalled from Ānanda's memory. Among them were Dekha Agama, Madhyama Agama, Ekotara Agama, Samyukta Agama, Apadana, Parable Sutra, Dhammapada, etc. Why was it that Ānanda could not achieve Arhat status before the Buddha passed into Nirvana? Our most beloved Supreme Master Qinghai, vegan, answered this question during a lecture in 2018.
It was not because Ānanda was slower or less spiritual. It was just his destiny to serve the Buddha first, okay? And to try to remember everything the Buddha said in the assembly or whatever happened in the assembly, on all the spiritual stories that happen within the Buddha's assemblies and disciples. Just like nowadays, you have miracle events, miracle stories and all that. Before there was no record players, so somebody has to write it down or memorize it all. Ānanda that was his job. You see, if he became Buddha too quickly, maybe he could not have done this, because he would have lost his intellectual power, memory, so that he could become more pure to become Buddha. So he had to continue to be so-called a little ignorant until after Buddha passed away. After Buddha passed away, he became enlightened immediately and became Arhat, and become one of the successors.
Before passing away, the Buddha entrusted his Dharma to Mahāgāsippa, who became the first patriarch of the Western heavens in the lineage of Zen Buddhism. Ānanda is revered as the second patriarch of the Western heavens. He succeeded Mahāgāsippa as leader of the Sangha and continued to spread the Dharma. The venerated Ānanda enjoyed an extra long lifespan. When he reached 120 years, the Magadha kingdom was about to attack the Vaishali kingdom. The venerated Ānanda, hoping to prevent an imminent war between them, surged into the air over them above the river Ganges. He meditated in mid-air. Upon achieving samadhi, he made his body go up in fire, then passed into nirvana with his relics, divided into two parts, landing on both banks of the river. With this, the two kingdoms would build stupas dedicated to Ānanda. As the soldiers of both kingdoms saw this incredible scene, they burst into tears, touched by Ānanda's greatness. They immediately made peace with each other, and the conflict was prevented. With utmost sincerity, we thank the worshipped Shakyamuni Buddha, venerated Ānanda, and all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and noble monastics for preserving the invaluable teachings that uplift humanity spiritually and contribute to world peace.